In today's Black Clover video we talk about Adrammelech's plan, who has planned everything and what will the heart be used for, and most importantly, to whom will the heart be taken. Also, only small percentage of the people who watch our videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. Please enjoy this video, let's go! Now that the official release of Black Clover Chapter 330 is finally out, and the whole community has already been talking about it intensely, I just have to say one thing. The Spade Kingdom arc is very misunderstood. Of course, everything is based on own opinion. There are people who read Black Clover only for the fights and people who see the plot behind it. The Spade Kingdom arc has its problems, such as power scaling and all the fake death. It is certainly not perfect in that regard, but that doesn't make the entire arc bad, and that's not the main reason given that made people change their minds about the Spade Kingdom arc. Tabata has made it pretty clear, especially now at the end, that the Spade arc had a different goal than what people thought and ultimately uses a main point to criticize Black Clover. It's basically about Lucifero losing, where people just keep ignoring that Lucifero was only 50% manifested and fought the strongest magic knights in the Spade Kingdom, all by himself. All the captains, then also Yami Nacht, Asta Liebe, Yunin attacked him with Leona, William gave all of his magic to Yami, and everyone was healed all the time. And even Adrammelech refused to help Lucifero, which would have definitely led to his victory. I don't see the problem. You can't use Lucifero's defeat as a reason when the arc itself showed that Lucifero should have lost literally from the beginning. One could even assume that Adrammelech could have somehow made Lucifero manifest himself, using all the devils of the second gate, who in turn are all ruled by Adrammelech. Maybe Adrammelech expected that someone like Asta could stop Lucifero's manifestation so that Lucifero could manifest only about 50%, so that Adrammelech can make sure that he can steal Lucifero's heart. And so he himself then revealed that Lucifero's heart was actually his true goal. So it's safe to assume that he planned it all from the beginning, or was part of a plan led by someone else in the background. Do you really think it's a coincidence that Lucifero manifested himself using the second gate, in which Adrammelech is the supreme devil, who then revealed that this was all actually his plan? Come on. And that's the key point I'm trying to make clear. When people understand that, their perspective will be very different. Lucifero didn't lose because he's weak or because Tabata can't write good villains. Adrammelech was able to steal Lucifero's heart not because Lucifero lost, but Lucifero lost because Adrammelech planned to steal Lucifero's heart from the beginning. Lucifero wasn't a bad villain, he just wasn't an important villain. That's a huge difference. He's not complex, and he was never portrayed as being complex to begin with. He's very simple evil. He is the embodiment of pure evil, and that is exactly what he delivered. The problem is another. People still believe that Lucifero is someone he is not. They assume that Lucifero is important and the Spade Kingdom arc is the climax of the Devil Saga, when in reality all Lucifero was good for was his devil heart, and the Spade Kingdom arc is the result of people manipulating events in the background. Lucifero lost because there were people who made sure he would lose, and therefore planned Lucifero's defeat from the beginning. He never had a chance. Without these people and Adrammelech's lack of respect, which is probably due to the masterminds of this whole intrigue, Lucifero would probably have won. Lucifero's defeat is the victory of people who wanted him to lose because of his devil heart. Whether it's just Adrammelech or a group of people Adrammelech is working with, the humans didn't win. They were all used like puppets for a bigger picture. The whole Spade Kingdom arc was a huge bait to make us readers think it was about the creation of the whole Cliffeth, with every single gate opening, and when the last gate opens, the big strong Lucifero appears, who then rules over all the other devils, who then all together like a happy family try to destroy the whole world. Wrong. From the moment the Cliffeth ritual was introduced, Nacht explained everything about Lucifero and made us believe that everything revolved around him, which was the moment we all started to get it all wrong, because that's what Tabata did on purpose. But where Tabata really miscalculated was that he thought people would see that as a big plot twist. That Adrammelech took Lucifero's heart and that Lucifero was just being used. Tabata was hoping that people would suddenly realize, oh wow, it all makes sense. That's why the Spade Kingdom arc ended the way it did. And to be honest, that's exactly how I see it. That's why I also have difficulty understanding all the hate. And this is very sad because obviously there's a misunderstanding between fans and Black Clover. Many focus on the completely wrong aspect and ignore the bigger picture. As I said, in the end it's always a matter of opinion, but I haven't met anyone who criticized Black Clover because of Lucifero, but also consider that Lucifero was manipulated and everything was done so that Lucifero would lose. If Lucifero was the main focus, he would not have skipped 5 gates and appeared with only 50% manifested. He would be the final boss after all the gates were opened. The moment Lucifero changed the Clifford ritual was the first indication that something was not going as we all expected. And with each new chapter it became more and more obvious that Lucifero is just a puppet in the game of the person pulling the strings in the background. Making Lucifero the main villain will ultimately destroy the real main villain who manipulated Lucifero. I want you to remember one thing in the future. If the true main villain is going to appear in Black Clover, it will be because of the Spade Kingdom arc. So if you are going to totally love the true main villain and the whole story arc around them, but you don't like how the Spade Kingdom arc ended, just remember that the Spade arc made that one future villain possible in the first place. Before my partner continues with this Black Clover video, please take a moment to leave a like. Thank you.
Now, let's talk a little deeper about the whole conclusion of the Spade Kingdom arc. We're gonna focus on Lucifero's Devil Heart now, because that's important for our video on Wednesday, where we're gonna do a big update on our whole theory that there's a main villain in the background who has been pulling the strings and manipulating events into Spade Kingdom, as well as most likely events that already happened, such as the reincarnation of the elves. A secret main villain should now be more or less confirmed after the last Black Clover chapter. We're trying to tie all the mysteries together into one storyline. Everything about the fourth Zogratis, Julius Novachrono, Adrammelech, the Dark Triad, and maybe even Zogratis. And all of this has to be based on Lucifero's Devil Heart. As we have already mentioned, the fact that Adrammelech planned to steal Lucifero's Devil Heart cannot be a coincidence, because it so happened that Lucifero used the very gate where Adrammelech rules to manifest himself. So we can assume that something or someone caused Lucifero to make this decision, so that Adrammelech could then eventually fulfill his goal, which was Lucifero's Devil Heart. So we have to assume that the possibility that Adrammelech must be in contact with someone in the Spade Kingdom who manipulated the events, and that's where it gets complicated. Theoretically, it was Maris who most likely made contact with Lucifero when Dante was in the healing container, which led to Lucifero betraying Dante and then asking Maris to speed up the Clifford so that Lucifero could manifest in time before the humans could stop the ritual. But what if someone could have manipulated Maris into contacting Lucifero so that they could then both change the ritual so that everything goes according to their plan? You see, it's very tricky and we're not gonna invest in it now, but we'll save it for Wednesday. Maybe Maris has nothing to do with it at all. But as I said, more on that topic in another video. The point is that if such a person exists, the person must also be the one who is somehow in contact with Adrammelech, and it is also the same person whom Adrammelech is most likely bringing the heart right now. But what is a devil heart good for? The devil heart is the most vital part of a devil's body. As long as the heart remains intact, the devil can eventually recover, even if the rest of the body is destroyed. Thus, the devil heart is the core of a devil. But not only that, it also seems to be what makes a devil. We have seen how Zenon receives Beelzebub's devil heart and then suddenly seemed to become something like a devil himself. And then there's Yami, who is believed to have also received a devil's heart, which Gray observed to have led a drastic change in his overall mana capacity, or a large amount of magic in Yami's body. She even said that Yami's body is now like Asta's devil. So if Yami's body is really like Liebe's, then that makes him something like a devil. And thus, we can assume that the devil's heart can indeed turn people into devils in some way, and is the main source of devil power. So that gives a pretty good idea of what Adrammelech could use the devil heart for. for, which then leads to the idea of undying bodies, and thus could be a hint at the fourth Zogratis sibling. In our last review, we stated that it is quite possible that the Julius Time Devil conspiracy, the fourth Zogratis, and Adrammelech with Lucifero's heart could have a connection to each other. If you asked us how we see this connection, if we have to draw a quick conclusion, we can assume that the fourth Zogratis sibling is the one who is in contact with Adrammelech, who then plans to use Lucifero's devil heart to be reborn in undying bodies, along with his three youngest siblings, the Dark Triad. And if we have to include the Julius Time Devil theory into this idea, then Julius could somehow be the fourth Zogratis, which would then explain why he collected Yami and William, because he needed Lucifero to be released in the human world to get his devil heart. But again, that's just the basic idea. We still have some things to figure out because a lot of things have changed due to the recent events. So take it with a grain of salt until we publish the full analysis on Wednesday. So that's it for today, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to smash the like button, and if you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell turned on. See you guys in the next video. Yami out.